The fastest way to lose power is to react too quickly. Most people believe strength is loud. They believe defending themselves proves confidence. They believe explaining their intentions shows honesty. In reality, constant reaction signals emotional dependency. And dependency is the quiet foundation of domination. Every time you react impulsively, you surrender control of the frame. Every time you over-explain, you place yourself beneath judgment. Every time you engage with someone unworthy of your time, you validate their importance. Machiavelli understood a principle that remains uncomfortable but effective: the individual who controls his responses controls the interaction. The one who reacts first often reacts from weakness. The one who stays silent forces others to reveal themselves. Never react. Never explain. Just ignore. This is not about cowardice. It is about hierarchy. Observe how the average person operates. An insult appears, and he responds instantly. A rumor spreads, and he scrambles to correct it. Someone questions his decision, and he launches into justification. He believes he is protecting his reputation. In truth, he is advertising his insecurity. Reaction is emotional surrender disguised as defense. When you react, you communicate that the other person has influence over your internal state. When you explain excessively, you communicate that you seek validation. And when you engage with every critic, you elevate them to equal standing. The disciplined strategist does the opposite. He measures his responses. He understands that silence creates ambiguity, and ambiguity creates leverage. When you refuse to react, you interrupt expectation. People anticipate emotional responses. When they receive none, uncertainty begins to grow. Uncertainty shifts power. Consider a simple exchange. Someone attempts to provoke you publicly. If you respond with anger, you feed the confrontation. If you respond with elaborate explanation, you legitimize the accusation. But if you respond with nothing, no anger, no justification, no visible reaction, you create psychological imbalance. The aggressor is left questioning their impact. Did it affect you? Did you even notice? That doubt destabilizes them more effectively than any argument. Silence, when intentional, is dominance without confrontation. This is the first principle: control the impulse to react. The moment you feel the urge to respond instantly is precisely the moment you should pause. Emotional acceleration is rarely strategic. Deliberate delay is. The second principle: resist the need to explain yourself to those who have not earned the right to question you. Excessive explanation is often rooted in fear: fear of being misunderstood, fear of being disliked, fear of losing approval. But approval obtained through constant clarification is fragile. True authority does not beg to be understood. It presents results. The more you explain, the more material you provide for misinterpretation. Every additional word becomes potential ammunition. Silence, by contrast, offers nothing to manipulate. This does not mean you never communicate. It means you choose carefully when communication serves a purpose. Strategic speech strengthens position. Emotional speech weakens it. There is a clear contrast between the reactive individual and the strategic one. The reactive man speaks to relieve tension. The strategic man speaks to produce outcomes. Never react. The third principle: understand that attention is currency. Every interaction costs energy. When you argue online, when you defend yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, when you attempt to win every debate, you spend currency that could have been invested elsewhere. Those who seek your reaction often seek validation. They measure their influence by your response. If you deny them that response, you deny them confirmation of significance. Ignoring is not passive. It is selective engagement. Machiavelli observed that not every threat deserves confrontation. Some dissolve when deprived of oxygen. Some opponents defeat themselves through overexposure. When you step into every conflict, you elevate minor issues into major battles. Strategic ignoring filters what deserves your attention. The fourth principle: maintain emotional neutrality in visible spaces. In professional environments, social circles, and digital platforms, people observe more than they admit. They evaluate stability. They test boundaries. The individual who reacts emotionally appears unpredictable. The one who remains composed appears formidable. Emotional control communicates internal order. When nothing easily disturbs you, others begin to measure their behavior more carefully. They recognize that provocation yields no reward. Over time, attempts to manipulate you decrease because manipulation requires predictable triggers. Predictability is weakness. The fifth principle: withdraw from unnecessary justification. There is a difference between transparency and overexposure. Transparency serves clarity. Overexposure serves insecurity. When you feel compelled to clarify every choice you make, you place yourself in a defensive posture. Authority does not defend every decision. It enforces them. If your choice aligns with your values and long-term objectives, it requires no elaborate explanation. Those aligned with you will understand eventually. Those misaligned will not be convinced regardless of how thoroughly you explain. The sixth principle: let outcomes speak where words would fail. Reputation built on explanation is unstable. Reputation built on results is durable. When you focus on competence instead of argument, criticism loses weight. If someone questions your direction, improve your performance. If someone doubts your ability, strengthen your skill. Over time, evidence replaces debate. And now the seventh principle: understand that indifference is not weakness, it is positioning. Indifference signals that your priorities are elsewhere. It communicates that you are invested in construction, not confrontation. The individual who is deeply focused on advancement rarely has time for trivial disputes. This is where transformation occurs. When you consistently refuse to react impulsively, refuse to explain unnecessarily, and refuse to engage with unworthy conflict, you begin to restructure your identity. You are no longer driven by external triggers. You are driven by internal standards. External noise loses influence. But this discipline requires practice. The urge to respond will not disappear overnight. You will feel the pull to defend yourself, to correct misinformation, to assert dominance verbally. Each moment becomes a test. Do you seek immediate emotional satisfaction, or long-term leverage? Those who master this distinction ascend quietly. They build reputations for composure. They become difficult to destabilize. Their presence carries weight because it is not diluted by constant reaction. Power does not shout. It observes. It calculates. It acts only when necessary. Never react. Never explain. Just ignore. As this discipline strengthens, you will notice a shift in how others respond to you. The provocations decrease. The casual disrespect fades. The attempts to draw you into drama become less frequent. Not because the world has changed, but because your boundaries have. People test what they believe they can influence. When they discover that you are not easily moved, they redirect their efforts elsewhere. Stability discourages manipulation. This is the deeper lesson hidden within Machiavelli's harsh realism. Power often belongs to the one who can endure silence longer than others can endure uncertainty. When you do not rush to clarify, you allow tension to work in your favor. When you do not react, you force others to confront their own motives. In the end, ignoring is not avoidance. It is filtration. It is the disciplined refusal to lower yourself into conflicts that diminish your trajectory. There are only two paths available. You either govern your responses with intention, or you surrender them to impulse. And in every interaction, that choice determines who holds the power.